I don't do promises on this YouTube channel, but this is going to be as close to a promise as you will ever hear me speak to. Many months from now, several months from now, you will regret the decision if you decide to sell any part of your crypto investments today. We're going a fuck ton higher. Welcome in, everyone. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is all in the charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, drop me a comment, and click that bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live each and every single weekday. Guys, we're going to get into things here, and we're going to discuss why things are looking so bullish. This is why I went with the laser eyes. I am feeling very bullish with the way that the week closed and the way that the month is setting up, guys. I hope everybody here had a great weekend. I'll be here today. I'll be here Tuesday. Wednesday, I'll possibly be out, be here Thursday, and potentially on Friday. Now, interestingly enough, on Sunday, we are getting a 2-week close, so maybe on Sunday, we'll kind of have to assess the price action at that point. Juan, welcome in, and see if a Saturday live stream makes sense. But let's get into price action. That's why you're here, right? So let's talk about what Bitcoin is currently doing. Guys, why am I so bullish? Why am I feeling so epically bullish and telling you that you really will regret selling any portion of your investments at this point? What did I speak to before we start taking a look at the market? What did I speak to? I said on the 12-hour chart, by the end of the week, I wanted to get into this rectangular range. We closed out the week we actually closed technically the week right above here, right above 68,000, okay? We are at the highest realistic range that I would have liked to have seen us at. I mean, come on, I just spoke to this last week. How can you not be bullish right now? Now, the other thing that I did signal to you last week is once we deviated, remember, just as a refresher, we spent a lot of time talking about how we were hanging out in this region, right? This was the deviation, and I stated to you, given that we spent 4 months in that range and had a swift deviation, once we re-entered the middle portion of this range, we're not going to be here long. We are not going to be here long. And there's really only 2 scenarios at this point, okay? We're either relatively soon going to roll over and we're going to create new lows and we're going to go to 48 to 52, or we're going to be at new all-time highs very soon. And you know which way, obviously, that I feel. You can see on the 12-hour, the 50 starting to curl back up, which is what you want to see. The 200 has flattened. That's also starting to increase as well. We're going to get that golden cross on the 12-hour, which historically is very good for price action. If we get into the 3-day, interestingly enough, if you said, well, hey, CBG, when is it really go time? Like, when can we start to feel confident that it's go time? If we look at a 3-day chart, don't focus on the moving average or any other lines. Just focus on the red line. We have not gotten a candle body close on the 3-day chart above approximately 70, we're going to call it 71,700. When we see a 3-day candlestick print up towards $72,000, let's just use a round number. Once you start to see price levels sustain themselves at 72 and above, that is the line in the sand for me. I'm calling it right now. When you see price action, what we want to see, let me be very clear about this. You want to see a daily close at or above 72, and then you want to see the confirmation candlestick, which is the preceding daily candlestick, close at $72,000 or above. It's fucking go time. Did you hear me? It's fucking go time. I don't know if it's going to be this week. I don't know if it's going to be next week, okay? But if you pinned me in a corner and said, hey, when the hell are we going to start seeing price levels up towards 80,000? You know, you've spoken about, you know, Bitcoin going up towards 85,000 maybe, or 92, whatever the case is, before we see a pullback. When the hell is this going to happen? Because this is really when your altcoins are going to run, guys. This is what I've been talking about for months at this point.
Once Bitcoin gets that next leg up and we're heading towards 85, and we probably are not going to hit 100,000. Let me just, a couple points I want to make here. When we do break $72,000 and we get confirmation on that, and we start heading up towards $80,000, I don't think we're going to see $100,000 right away. I think we'll see a pullback. We'll have to assess what the market's at that point and assess if that's the true blow off top, or what I lean towards, what I more heavily lean towards, is we'll just see a correction before our ultimate blow off top. We'll assess at that point. But the reason that you've been waiting for this move is because if I am correct, you're going to see a very large run in altcoins. You're going to see that breakdown in Bitcoin dominance that we've been following forever, right? You're going to see that dominance drop below 53%. So watch for $72,000 to break convincingly this week or next week at the latest, okay? At the latest. That's what you want to watch for. Now, if we go to the weekly, a couple things I want to point out on the weekly chart here. First off, check out this candlestick. This pattern is invalid. We can take that out. Check out these two candlesticks here. I mean, I don't even see a wick here. There's barely a wick on the top or bottom. This is just a nice, thick green body candle. If you're a bull in any market, any chart that you're looking at, when you see a candlestick, we don't have to overcomplicate things, guys. You go to so many channels, people try to make themselves sound smarter than what they are. Let's just keep it stupid simple here. You have a candlestick that is completely comprised of a green body with no wick. That is motherfucking bullish, guys. There's no other way to paint that. Anyone who is bearish right now on current price action cannot, I really mean this, they clearly can't read a chart. If you said to me, hey, are you being a little biased? Are you looking at both ends of the spectrum? Yes, I am. And I would point to the following two facts that one could point to that are still bearish, okay? There are two things that I can think of in assessing these charts that still spell something that needs to turn around in the chart. A high, a lower high, a lower high, and a lower high. So we need to take out these lower highs, right? So that's bearish, if you want to call it bearish. Point number one. Bearish point number two is the one that I've highlighted for you last week. It's the relative strength index. Look, we popped above 54. Great to see. Let's give a golf clap, but we need to get above 70. Okay, 70 is that magical level. We also, if you check this out, we also deviated from this increasing line here. Let's take this one off. See how we were following this upsloping line on the RSI? We also broke that. Now, we've gotten back above it, which is great to see. But you want to see this relative strength index eventually get up here, and you also want to create a higher high, right? If we see this thing come up here and it does one of these things, we're going to have to assess what is most likely in terms of further downside, depending where we're at with price action. But those are really the only two bearish things that I see on the chart. Besides that, because we had such a strong close, if we take a look at the price action again on that candlestick that is completely comprised of a candle body with no wick, what that resulted in is the following. The stochastic RSI is well above 20. We're at 48 over 28. Look at the MACD, guys. This is a thing of beauty. The MACD has not only flattened out, it's beginning to curl up here. And look at this histogram. See how the histogram is fading in red? Very, 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 very bullish. I don't know why I just made that accent. I have no freaking clue. Let's see what else we got. Now, the other interesting thing that we'll have to keep an eye out for, if we go to the monthly first, take a look at this monthly candlestick. If we hold, which I am suspecting I am suspecting that by the end of this month, we're going to close at or above. Oh, man, today's full of predictions. Ooh, more predictions. We will close July at or above $72,000. That is my prediction.
Either way, even if we close at 68, 67, 69, it doesn't matter. Look at the formation of the monthly candlestick. This is a massive, giant, green hammer candlestick. Okay? On a high time frame view like this, what it should lend you to arrive to, a conclusion you should arrive to, is that we have a very high likelihood of a trend continuation to the upside. That this downside, remember, we looked at the 2 month, right? We talked about the gravestone doji, right? The downside that was likely based on this high time frame view on the 2 month, which by the way, we'll have to see how August pairs up, because August, depending how August comes in, this 2 month print on this candlestick could be monumentally bullish. This gravestone doji, which spelled more downside, it's likely that that's over with. We came down. We came down from 74 all the way down to 53, okay? So the downside is likely over. That's what I'm getting from these charts right now, all right? Again, we're not out of the woods yet, okay? I just illustrated to you there are lower highs still in here. There's negative divergence on this RSI, which I don't like to see. Or technically, there isn't negative divergence in the RSI yet, but there's a high probability that there will be. But again, given the strong reaction in pricing, given where we're at within the highest of ranges that I've spoken to that I wanted to see by the end of the week, and the fact that now that we've gotten out of that range deviation, we've gotten to the midpoint of where we've been ranging for 4 months, we're blasting up or blasting down, and the charts are telling me we're blasting up most likely. A couple other charts I wanted to take a look at with you guys. XRP. A couple things I would point out. We've been covering XRP now for, I guess, a week, better part of a week now. Did we get what we wanted to see on the weekly close? What we wanted to see was us closing at or above the 200. Literally right on the dot. By the skin of its teeth, it closed basically at 60 cents, which is great. That's what we want to see. And now you can see this weekly candlestick is sitting pretty. It's sitting right on top of the 200 simple moving average. This is our confirmation candlestick. If XRP this week closes at or above 60 cents, I think we could see a significant rise in price to the upside. The other thing I would point out is this historical ascending trend, which the blue circles are indicating, and ovals are indicating an area of support. Since we broke down, you can see that's another area of price confluence. We're not able to get above this ascending line here. So it'll be interesting to see where prices go in August. But if momentum is what I believe it to be in the market, I think XRP could easily double in value over the course of the next 6 weeks or so. Solana, looking very strong. Looking very strong. Now, this is still a red area of resistance here. We're looking at the weekly. This is still red resistance because we got one print above here. This is our confirmation candle, right? MACD looks like it wants to cross positive. RSI looks pretty at 61, and the stochastic RSI looks beautiful. Look at this thing trending up. Looking really, really, really strong. Ethereum got some descending resistance here I want to see break. Of course, we spoke about this gray line here, okay? Man, there's too many damn colors on here. I was just looking at a file at work that had too many colors on it. You can see the orange line is denoting the descending resistance here with the lower highs coming in. The gray line is what I want to get above. The gray line at 36.50. I think once we start pressing up towards 36.50, obviously once we break the $4,000 psychological level, it's going to be go time for Ethereum, but the chart's looking beautiful. It's just taking longer to play out than what I and many had expected. So price indicators are looking good. MACD's trying to turn around. Caspa, I had just tweeted this out. I have never gotten used to X or posting. We're going to call them tweets. Guys, we have been ranging at this level seemingly forever. I think a lot of the price action that you're kind of seeing in Caspa right now is pretty indicative of the overall market and kind of where Bitcoin is at. The market is at this point. It's a really interesting time. I was thinking to myself last week that it was either last week or the week before. I was thinking to myself, this is one of the more challenging times. One of the more challenging times when I've been in the market where I really felt like things could go either way. Where
Bitcoin's kind of hanging out here. And I said this much when we were live streaming and having a conversation about price action, but it certainly challenged me as a technical analyst because really I could have seen the argument to find support here and rise up and for it to be a range deviation, but also there was a ton of price confluence down here. So I totally could get the argument that we would see lows in this area before moving up. So definitely challenged me as a technician. I know at certain points I felt 50-50 on it. And I think a lot of the price action that you're seeing in Casper right now is reflective of some of that indecisiveness within the market. Once Bitcoin decides to make the move that I believe it will make, I believe that you're going to see a monumental rise in Casper. Keep in mind, we've been basing in this area. Casper has essentially been ranging. Let's see here. I mean, Casper's been ranging for 5 months. 5 months. It really hasn't done anything. All right, 5 months. And what I'm drawing a comparison to is this time period back here. Okay, this time period right now, in this 3-4 cent area, upwards of 5, it's very reminiscent of what's going on right now, and I'm expecting a huge move up. I would not be surprised to see all-time highs in Casper as early as this week, as late as next week, coinciding with some of the strong moves that I'm anticipating within Bitcoin. What else? I think we should assess. Hey, Todd, super chats are never expected. Always appreciated, my friend. Thank you so much. DXY. Let's take a look at the dollar index. We know the inverse relationship. Yeah, so right now we're sort of just sitting on this 104 area. Once 104 breaks, there's really not, we already kind of covered this, there's 103 and then 101, but definitely some weakness coming in on the dollar. You can also see, I'm sure, on the price indicators, yeah, MACD's curling down. So this is exactly what we want to see. If we assess, let's take a look at total. What's up, Frankie? Oh, you're pretty new, Cassius. February of 22, huh? You got in at a good time, right when the market was taking a shit. And yes, guys, it is true. It is true, as Kurt Angle used to say. It's true. It's true. Despite what you hear and read about on Twitter or on YouTube, because this conjecture always comes out around this time, every single cycle this comes out, that this alt season will be different. That your shitty altcoin that hasn't run and is bleeding relentlessly against Bitcoin, it's dead. You always hear this, okay? A rising tide lifts all boats. And until the market tells us something differently moving forward, you can expect that if you've been sitting in a shitty asset, I won't name any names, but if you've been sitting in a shitty asset, it will rise as well. Now, I allow the charts to talk for me, and I've continued to stress to you to take opportunities when there have been downturns in the market to reconfigure your portfolio and ride your winners. That's what I've done. I've reshifted my portfolio. I've shared that with you guys. I feel like I'm sitting very pretty at the moment, and I'm in some very strong-looking charts, okay? That's how I've decided to position myself. So until proven otherwise, the strong performers are going to be the stronger performers. And the weaker performers will be the weaker performers. They'll rise in value, but they're going to continue being weak until the chart tells me differently. And if you don't understand that, then again, I don't have room in my investment thesis for emotion. Emotion's a money killer. Total. Yeah, the total. You know what the total view reminds me of? Doesn't this look like Ethereum, right? We just charted this for Ethereum. Very similar to Ethereum. So, and the other thing I think I had pointed out on this chart, I'm pretty sure, yeah. I mean, you still have a pennant formation here, technically. So,
You know, you take a measured move, maybe from the point of break. Maybe we break over here. You know, measured move would take us, you know, from approximately 2.4 trillion all the way up to 6.45. So, again, that's just taking a measured move. This is just a bull pennant, guys. There's no magic to it. Here's the pull, and there's the pennant. A lot of people draw this wrong. I'm kind of amazed. I've seen some large followers on Twitter, and they can't even draw a price target right on a bull pennant, which is amazing. This is not correct. You don't take the pull. If I clone this, you don't take the pull and put it down here. You don't take it and put it here. You put it at the point of breakout. So I'm guesstimating if it breaks out here at this point, that's where you put it. If it breaks out down here, you put it here. If it breaks down here, you put it here. Hopefully that makes sense. But it amazes me that people with 150,000 followers on Twitter can't even draw an appropriate bull flag. Yeah. Evan, welcome in. Good to see you. Let's see. What else can we take a look at? I covered the charts pretty quickly, guys. Guys, do you have any questions for me? Honestly, we're ahead of schedule here. We're only at 21 minutes. Is there anything that you would like me to chart? Trying to see what else is interesting here. Let's take a look at WIF real quick. WIF is in my portfolio. You guys know that. My triple threat is WIF, Brett, and Wojak. Not saying that I don't own Pepe or Doge or Sheeb or Kakanu, but they represent smaller positions. So let's take a look at WIF, because WIF right now is having a nice turnaround within the market. I took the opportunity to buy some sub $2 WIF. Let's see. So as you can see here, this is a 3-day chart. Interestingly enough, despite all the downwards consolidation or correction, however you want to term it, we are still technically, believe it or not, you could still draw this as a bull pennant. You could. And I wonder if you put this on a weekly, it's probably more clear. No. I certainly don't want to find a time frame that fits my bias, but if there is a time frame where the pattern shows, and if the pattern's present, the pattern's present. Yeah, regardless, I mean, you can look at this on multiple time frames, but you essentially have a bull pennant here. So right now we're getting some nice, let's take this off, because now it's getting now it's distracting me. And let's take a look at some price levels we want to clear on WIF. So WIF for me, and you can see this is the 3-day. Look at the turnaround within the price indicators. You can see that MACD is beginning to curl up. RSI looks pretty strong. It's probably around 60. Yeah, it's at 55.5. Stochastic RSI looks good. Let's just focus on price action. Let's ask the question, where are we going to run into struggles, right? Where are we going to run into problems with price action? So there's a clear area of resistance right at about $4.30. There's another area of price confluence right where we're at right now, actually. Let me see, right about there. Yeah, right at about $2.75. So this range here, this is going to be key to reclaim. We want to have a RS flip, a resistance to support flip, not an SR flip, an RS flip. We want to get back into this zone, but once you see WIF back, but I'm giving you all sorts of predictions, guys. Once you see WIF at $4 and above, new all-time highs, guys. New all-time highs, $7 and above, approaching that psychological $10 level. Yup, ETH ETF is expected to come in tomorrow. Now, guys, you know, sometimes I like covering the news. Oh, sorry, I cracked my back. Sometimes I like to cover the news here and kind of talk about some of the news, like what's his name, Gary Tyrant Fucktard Gensler. Okay, when things like that happen, and the ETH ETF is interesting news tomorrow. But make no mistake, the name of the live stream is all in the charts. So on this channel, we simplify our lives and we focus on what the chart is telling us. And all the news is noise. It's interesting.
I follow the news. Okay, I have a good fundamental understanding of a lot of things going on within the market. Doesn't mean I don't find those things interesting. But when I'm making investment decisions, here, I'm basing it on the chart. That's it. I don't give two fucks about the ETF news. Does not sway me on my view on the market. Okay, it's all in the charts. Let me see. Any other meme coins that would be interesting to look at? I haven't looked at Pepe in a little while. Of course, Pepe has been crowned the king meme that's going to run this cycle. It'll be interesting if there's a dark horse that comes out that far surpasses Pepe. I feel like it's a foregone conclusion. Everyone thinks Pepe is going to be the one that runs the hardest. It'd be funny if it was with. What do we got? This is looking beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We're riding this 50-day simple moving average on the 3-day. We got the 20. We're actually sitting right pretty on the 20. And right now, what I'm looking at on Pepe, we just got some downward resistance. Okay, let's break the downward resistance. Or once we break that downward resistance, I mean, really, there isn't a whole lot to talk about here. I mean, you just got to clear all-time highs up here. So we just got to get above this price level before we start setting new all-time highs. But chart's looking pretty strong. Let's take a look at... let's take a look at Wojak. This is what I would call my dark horse meme play. Let's get off that Raging Bull, Tony's proprietary indicator. We got this cross up. Now, this is on the 2-day. Again, limited price data. You can see, though, and this is a perfect depiction of why basing investment decisions on a chart is a smart idea. This thing is in a clear uptrend, and until it's invalidated, I don't understand why you wouldn't at least be interested in understanding or spending some time looking at this chart. Every single time on the 2-day we've gotten a significant cross here, we have seen a rise up in price. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. The other thing I'm pointing out here is there's a general increase in the relative strength index, which is nice to see. That's what you want to see. As the relative strength index is continuing to increase, as the price is pushing up, what is that actually telling us? It's telling us that there's a lot of strength behind that price movement. If we saw negative divergences and we saw lower highs coming in and there was weakness in the RSI, that would tell us there's not a lot of strength behind the price action. We could expect a correction. But again, as soon as the rest of the market picks up, keep in mind, Wojak is essentially an Ethereum beta play. So if you want to talk about the ETF news, fine. But if Ethereum gets once Ethereum starts rising past $4,000 and it really starts heading towards new all-time highs, I fully anticipate Wojak, Pepe, those things are going to be running much harder than Ethereum. Okay, much harder. I don't know, Evan. We're not looking at live price action, I'm sure. I don't know. Let me see here. I'm not familiar with that. Why are we selling off? We're not selling off. We're same price levels we've been at. I'm not seeing a big sell-off, my friend. We had a big week last week. So getting a little bit of red in the market is to be expected. All right. We don't really do the hourly, my friend. Stooges. If you're going to get hung up on an hourly chart, you're going to get weeded out of this market. There's way too much volatility for most assets to look at an hourly chart. I would encourage most people here not to spend any time looking at an hourly chart. Unless if you're a veteran with technical analysis, it's not going to benefit you to look at an hourly chart. You really should be at a daily, 1 day or above. I know I talk about the 12-hour, but... Okay, this is Stooges, and I can't do anything with this. There's not enough price data. Now, I will say, based on the limited price data, it looks good. There's a nice floor right here at about 0.05 cents. You can see where the resistance is at. It's pretty clean. Yeah, not a lot of price data here. And I'm sure this is an extremely small market cap, so not a lot to comment there. Institutions have to sell their ETH holdings they purchased prior to the ETF approval, right? I have no idea. I'm not... Institutions have to sell their ETH holdings they purchased prior to the ETF approval. I really don't know, my friend. Frankie, I don't know the answer to that question. What else? Yeah, guys, I would just... Ooh, my God, what happened here? 41% CQT. Woo! Oh, dear Lord. I don't know why I have this asset on my watch list, but this thing... Oh, my God. Anybody in this? I hope not. CQT. Wow. What happened here? Let's see. Nah. I don't want to waste time doing that, actually. Where were we? I'm losing track of where I was at. CQT. Here we go. Wow. Guys, the whole punchline of today's live stream, okay? Is that a rug pull? Looks like it. The whole point of today's live stream is to get you on board with how I'm assessing the market objectively, and the fact that we closed out last week at the highest possible level I thought was possible and that I wanted to see. Okay, what I was looking for, what I communicated last week. You can go back to the videos from last week and look at it. We are sitting pretty right now. Now, we're not out of the woods, okay? This is still a lower high relative to everything back here. Make no mistake. This is a lower high relative to this and relative to this. But what did I tell you? And we looked at higher time frame views in terms of how bullish they look. As long as price levels hold up by the end of the week and by the end of the month and the 2 month. But what did I tell you? The price level you need to watch for, the line in the sand, 72,000. Once you see Bitcoin close at or above 72 on the daily, and you see the preceding candlestick holding a close at or above 72, it is motherfucking go time, okay? It's entirely possible. Again, be patient, people. Please, please, for the love of God, my community, be patient. All we can do is just interpret the data, and unless if something changes, the data is what the data is telling us. Right now, it is quite possible we could chip and chop in here for several days, okay? That's very possible. We could chip and chop in here for several days before we ultimately break out early next week. We could say, fuck it. We could be up 10% tomorrow. But the point is, we're sitting pretty right now. I don't promise anything on this live stream, but it's as close to a promise as I can get in stating several months from now, you will regret the decision to sell any part of your investments at this point. We are on the verge of something great. Sit tight, be patient. I'll be here every day assessing the charts to help you decipher what's going on. All right, everybody, thank you so much for the engagement today. I should be back at normal time tomorrow. It'll be TAQ&A. So until next time, everybody, let's all spread awareness and let's carry the education forward. Take care, everybody.